Peace. This is James. I'm going live. Um, couldn't figure out how to do the YouTube. I mean, not the YouTube, but the Facebook Live. I'm still going to be working on that. But I wanted to throw a little something simplistic out there in regards to what we're dealing with this aboriginal uprising that we having with misinformation regarding who we are as a people. I think that what I'm going to do is going to be really simple. I don't want to have it to be complex because I'm not a complex person. I really want to try to just reach the people and my thought process and what I come from as a person, which is basically historical ignorance. Not to say that that is a bad thing because we were purposely miseducated. But what I want to do is I want to keep stuff simplistic so the normal average person can understand the argument and what's going on. For some reason or another, which we already know, we have a lot of people that don't want to be African or from the actual continent of Africa, which is actually a shameful admission that we want to denounce what makes us the greatest human species on this planet. So I'm not going to be too long-winded. I want to actually just get into the information, share my screen, and then I'm going to get up out of here. So let me go ahead and get into that. Hopefully, let me see if I got the right thing on my screen. Let me see what I can look up here. I think I'm going to go with that one. What is this that I got up here? It's whale. See that right there? That's not going to be good. Give me a second, everyone. I don't think that that's the screen. Let me stop sharing that screen. Hold on a second, y'all. Give me a second. Because there's something that I actually do need to pull up here. Okay, it's going to be two things I'm going to need to pull up. My apology for not having this pulled up in advance. Let me pull up her texture. No, I don't, because I'm actually going to be doing a little bit of reading. Up on the African hair texture. Let me go ahead and get everything pulled up. Here's the chart. This is not what I'm looking for. I think I found what I need. Okay, this is it. Okay, now this is going to be kind of extensive, but then again, not so extensive. Let me see. Let me go ahead and look at my thing again here and see what I can pull up. Hold on a second. I think I want to go with that for now. Okay, now this is my screen. I actually have the wrong screen up right now. Okay, so I'm assuming that everyone is looking at this particular screen that I have up. This is a hair textured Afro textured hair. This you can be found in Wikipedia. Anyone can go and look this up. I didn't want to have it simplistic. I wanted to keep it simplistic. Also, I wanted to usurp or go past what I know a lot of people of ignorance would like to do, is to not be able to have an identifying way of identifying this. You know, like we'll go into, well, okay, well, why don't you go do a DNA test? You know, people that don't want to find out who they are, they'll denounce DNA, or they'll do anything that they can to try not to accept their Afro lineage. So with this hair texture study, it's no way that you can actually deny what your lineage is, because it actually says that anyone with that particular hair texture has to be of African stock, or by percentage have a majority African DNA within their living body. This is a simple way to do it. You can just simply look on someone's head, and if you see African African textured hair, that means that they are they have some type of direct descent or lineage coming from the actual continent. So I'm gonna read a little bit of this, and hopefully we can get some understanding on this from a simplistic standpoint. I like anyone that's dealing with this argument to use this as a simplifying way to go ahead and dead the argument, because I noticed that whenever I post this or share this with anybody that claims to be Aboriginal, I never get any type of response from them after this is presented. So if you want to discontinue the argument, this is the nail in the coffin for that particular argument. So it says Afro-textured hair is a natural hair texture of certain particular populations in Africa. And notice they said certain populations in Africa. The certain populations in Africa, the African diaspora. The African diaspora consists of the worldwide collection of communities descended from African peoples, predominantly in the Americas. Historically, ethnographers, historians, politicians, and writers have used the term particularly to refer to the descendants of West African and Central African, probably, you know, if I go on, it's going to be saying enslavement. But anyway, it says Oceania, and it says Oceania, and in some parts of South and Southeast Asia. Each strand of this hair type grows in a tiny angular like relax, which means like a circular thing in the shape. It says overall effects of overall the overall effect is such that comparing to straight, wavy, or curly hair, Afro textured hair appears denser. Now let me get straight to this map. I'm going to click on this map really fast. It says hair texture. Okay, now you can see right here that in this region right here that this going to have the map indicates, you know, right here is indicating curly, short, flat end, and cross sections. Now all of that's going to be off in here, but you'll notice that just this particular hair texture is what we're going to focus on right here. This indicates African hair texture. This is going to be Malaysian hair texture. This is going to be another variation. These are going to be different variations, and you know, both of these are the same. But this hair texture is different from here, just as this hair texture is different from here. This hair texture is an indication that these are African people that's dealing with the admixture of the Arab population, what we know of the Arab population is today. So you will see like the Ethiopians, which have dark melanin, they have the same melanin that we have, but their hair texture is going to be looking more like the Arabic hair texture, which is all non-African hair texture. You don't see this hair texture anywhere else on the planet besides here. This is all indication. We all know that North Africa has been colonized by the Arab, and then you have admixed people here. Everyone outside of Africa is admixed. So when we say one more thing that I want to touch on as far as the confusion as Africans did not populate the entire planet. Had we populated the entire planet, everyone would look like an African. We have other species of humans that actually they're saying that came out of Africa in two different ways. The first wave came out from what science is saying is Homo erectus. These Homo erectus came out from right here. And then you can see right here is where admixtures actually looks like to start taking place. You'll start seeing a dark complected people here, but their hair texture is going to be of admixed people. So as you go further out, you get different types of admixed people dealing with the Neanderthal in this region. And then we have another region of people that they're calling Denisovans that they've just found DNA evidence on. Well, when we come out, as the second time we come out of Africa, these people have mutated into a different type of species based on what science is saying. So when we come out again the second time, we're coming out as pure Homo sapiens sapiens. And we're admixing in with what they're calling Neanderthal and Denisovan DNA, which these people have already mutated, and they're saying that we mutated into Homo sapiens sapiens actually on the continent. The next time we come out, we run into these other different type of human species, which gives birth to the rest of the population of the planet. So you get pure Africans here, you get admixed humans here coming right out of this little this straight here, and maybe even here is how you get admixed people. But these are all admixed people coming here. They travel from here and they come all the way up here. And then this actually was a land bridge to what they're saying, and this is how they get here. Humans come and populate the Americas through coming up through here, traveling here, and then coming up through a land bridge that was here. And excuse me, and then coming out on the other side here. And then this is how you get all of the other people that are popular. All of these people are admixed. And then when you look at the phenotypes of all of these particular people, you will see their admixture and the likeness of certain species. So if you say you coming out of here, you will see that the Ethiopians are deeply melanated. They look like just like us, except their hair texture is different. Once they get out to here, you'll notice that they start to lose the melanin, but they still retaining that same hair texture. And this is the same throughout everywhere outside of here. Now you got these people on this island that they're saying that got isolated, and they were able to, like, these are the aboriginals of Australia. These people were able to retain their genetic structure because of the isolation of this water. So the real aboriginals of this particular landmass in here, they got separated and they were able to retain more of their Denisovan DNA and retain their melanin and some of the stuff that they had coming out of here. Whereas these people are being heavily mixed with that Neanderthal, which had them lose their melanin as well as the hair texture of an African. That's why over in this region right here, you'll see a highly red, dense population of, this is what you call, this is Ireland. And you'll see right in this region, there's a lot of red-haired people, Europeans in Ireland. And a lot of the Neanderthal were red-haired people. So that's where you get the different hair texture, the blonde and the red hair over here. And these are the Neanderthals. But if you notice off in this particular region, these people are going to be melanated, but they're still going to have this same hair texture, but it's going to all be black because they're coming with more of a close admixture here. Then when you get up here, all of these people's hair is going to be black in texture. You have some blonde-haired people down here in Africa, but they use DNA to come up with the answer as to whether they get that particular genetic marker at. So you're dealing with a lot of different variations as far as genetics, migration patterns, and so forth. Now, I'm not the leading scientist or anything like that. I'm just someone that maybe can understand it and maybe can verbally get people to understand that Africans did not populate the planet. We came out right here as pure Africans. And you can go back into this continent and you can still find Africans that are pure Homo sapiens sapiens. They do not retain any of the DNA from outside of this continent. So they don't have any Neanderthal in them, and they don't have any Denisovan in them. All of these people have African DNA in them, even by a small amount, but you can still see that they have admixed African in them. So they'll have 2% African all throughout here, 2 to 3% African, but they retain their Neanderthal and Denisovans DNA, and they're more strongly populated on that side. So hopefully this will help people to be able to identify their Africanness, even if they don't want to identify. For those who want to be able to simplistically make an argument, you can just look at the hair texture of any African American, and you can make a quick distinction based on their hair texture. If they have the hair texture of an African, and we all know what African hair texture looks like because it's indigenous to the continent. If they have the hair texture from this region, you can pretty much say that they have African DNA by maybe 70% off in them still retained in them. If you see a person that's a deeply melanin or deeply hued person with non-African hair texture, then it's a great possibility that that's a great indication of admixture with outside African species. So you got the people like in Hawaii, they appear to be African. You got the people in Australia, they look African by melanin, but when you look at their hair texture, it's going to be slightly off from the kinkiness of the continental African. So like I said, that's just really what I wanted to share with everybody. I don't like the fact that we have a lot of people that are overthinking this and not really just being really simple and go ahead and attacking it based on something that we can see. Because like I said, you know that these people are going to try to deny that. But when you're using something simplistic as the hair follicles or the hair texture of something that you can see right now, that pretty much deads any argument that they're going to be able to make. Because like I said, if you just go ahead and send them here and say, hey man, you can only be African based on if you have this hair texture. There's no really getting around it because it's indigenous to the planet. You can see it here. There's nowhere on this planet that you can see the source of this particular hair texture. So with that said, man, let me go ahead and keep this short. I hope that some of our more studied people, I know I'm friends with a lot of linguists, people that really study the history. I want those to maybe peer review what I'm trying to say, and let's try to use this as a way to go ahead and stomp this out so that we can move on to more pressing needs as a people. No matter where you at on this map, based on melanin, even if you do have this particular hair texture, or if you have the same melanin as an African, but you have a different hair texture, you've been treated the same. So we definitely are not excluding them as family, because anybody of dark hue, we probably, it would be in our best interest as a collective to go ahead and accept them into the African family in some variation, if they're willing to be accepted. Not saying that I'm saying in the African family, but not actually as Africans. So like you got maybe some dark-skinned Indians over here that's from the Americas, but if they don't see themselves as being persecuted like Africans, then you can let them go ahead and be their own particular entity. But like I said, I don't want to keep this long, so let me go ahead, get out of that, stop sharing my screen, and go ahead and close this video out. So like I said, with that being said, man, I hope that wasn't too long. I don't know how long I've been on here, but I don't want to make anything longer than it necessarily needs to be. I think that that's really the simplest way that we're going to be able to close that argument out. We were dealing with the flat earthers maybe a year ago. That seemed to have died down. Now we're dealing with the aboriginal indigenous movement that surfaced up here. And I think that, like I said, the hair texture, you can look at my hair, it's African hair texture. That's it. If you see that hair texture, it's a done deal for whoever that's making an argument that they're not African. So with that said, peace to everybody, and I hope this helped somebody gain an understanding that the African hair texture is indigenous to the African continent, and anyone with African hair with that hair texture actually has a predominant percentage of African DNA. Peace.